I'm doing just a short live while I do my morning walk again because it kind of distracts me while I'm doing it. What time is it? It's 10:07. It's late, but it is what it is. I've been watching this alpha milk cringe thing, but like this one wasn't about like those big tough dudes things or whatever. This one was about dating coaches. The self-prescribed dating coaches. There's that is funny. Like that's some like it's funny if it wasn't scary, because like it's funny and scary, I guess, in a sense that like these guys have the worst advice for picking up women I've ever heard in my life. Corey Redbeard. I guess he flew down to Colombia to meet himself a lady when it's very obvious that every woman that's in a video with him is being paid. Like, it's clearly obvious. They're not interested in him at all. You can tell they have this dead look in their eyes, just like, when I get my money. He's out here like, you need to get yourself a Pocahontas, like I did down here in Colombia. And I'm like, dude, Pocahontas was 11. Bad analogy. Like, not a good analogy at all. And not to mention, Pocahontas was Powhatan, Native American. You're down in Colombia, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, but this kid looks like a goblin, like straight up, or something out of like, I don't know, something out of like a horror game, like made by like White Wolf Studios back in the '90s, or like shit. Just like pale ass skin. I don't want to like shame the kid for. That's weird. They just like completely paint all women in one country with one brush is kind of odd. And like he goes down to Colombia and he's like, women down here know how to treat men and they treat us like kings and stuff like that. It's fucking weird. His data isn't right. His historical data is not very good. Hi, Exotic. I'm on my morning walk because I'm too fat. Like, I'll just straight up admit I am too fat. But these dating coaches on YouTube, like if I didn't know that there were young men who were listening and like were gonna take their horrible advice, it would be hilarious. But like, that adds like a darker element to it, because there's gonna be kids out there, or guys, young men out there who really do think like this is what you need to do to get a woman when it is not. Bus Butard Yonya. Pleasure to have you in the chat. Like, even his history isn't that good. Like, his history, like, there's another thing. Like, he has a woman feeding him grapes, like that. And he's like, back in the Roman times, being fed grapes was a sign of being a king or wealth. And I'm like, bro, you've been watching too many Looney Tunes, man. Like, legitimately. The Tarkov hippie. Pleasure to have you here, man. Yeah, I'm going on my morning walk because I've lost about 8 pounds, like, since I started doing this. So I've gone from 230 down to 210, back up to 220, and now I'm down to 212 again. So do it up, dude. Get a beer, crack one open, have a good time. So that's what my streams are about. You just have a good time and playing music. I don't know if I have the wherewithal in me to play music right now in the morning. I just am kind of shaking the cobwebs off, but later on today I'll put up a stream where I'm playing piano and singing and stuff like that. But got an open one too. What a coincidence. Hey, you guys are on the right plan. You're like right frame of mind, man. Chill out, enjoy the day. They're building this McMansion on my street, and I'm not gonna lie, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful look, but it is gonna drive costing levels up on this street up so much. Like, I know it. Look at this. That shit's crazy, dude. We've never had a house like that on our street. So yeah, this guy starts saying that like being fed grapes means you're a king or whatnot. And I'm like, number one, like if you were a Roman and you were eating grapes, you'd get your own grapes. Like Roman men were very independent, and they actually respected their wives. Oh my God. Oh my God, they respected their wives? Holy shit. Oh my God. And at no point in time am I saying that slavery is good. Slavery's always been horrible. But in the Roman times, it was a caste system kind of thing. If you were born a slave, you were going to be a slave until you died. Unless your master gave you, let you be free. But the Romans saw their slaves as kind of like an extension of the family in a way. You'd marry them. If they were in love with each other, you'd let them get married and shit. And a lot of slaves are really loyal, which creeps me the fuck out. But it had nothing to do with skin color or anything. It literally was just, you either got captured by the Romans and now you're a slave, or you lost all your money and now you could be a servant for so many, hi Roots, and hello Quaxy. I'm sorry, I can't read your guys' names very well. I don't have my glasses on, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm like, slavery's never correct, period. There's no moral place in slavery, but I'm talking more about the Romans. And here's the fun thing. I was just talking about this with me mama. The movie 300, like, what up, Jordan? Welcome. Hi, Siren. Welcome. The movie 300, I'm sure all of y'all seen it. Like, this is Sparta! That kind of thing. If anybody who knows history, you'd be rooting for the Persians. You'd be rooting for the Persians. Because, like, you see Xerxes in the movie, he's like 13 feet tall, this huge guy. Covered in gold bangles, covered in all these like crazy things. The man looks like a monster in the movie, like just a giant, towering figure. And that's not how Xerxes looks. Like if you go look up Xerxes, he actually looks kind of nice. Like he's just got this long hair. He's white skinned. He's got this kind of curly beard, and just light colored robes on. The dude was like 5'7", or like something like that. So he wasn't this towering, conquering evil figure who was hedonistic and stuff like that. Like, it was more just like, what did Tarkov say? Except the girl wants to be your slave. You get me? I do. I get it. I get it. I do. That's a sexy gameplay too. Anyway, Xerxes, what he would do when he conquered the Persians, when they conquered an area, the problem with the Spartans is, like, you remember when they met up with the Athenians and they're like, what's your tradition? And one guy says he's a blacksmith, and one guy says he's a tanner, and then he goes, Spartans, what is your profession? And they all go, oh, they're all soldiers. Now that's awesome for if you're going to war. But what are you going to do when the war is done? Those Athenians that you're making fun of so much, they can go back to their jobs. You guys don't have jobs. You literally run off of an entire slave system. So after, the Battle of Thermopylae, which was really badass, but the Spartans got their asses kicked. That was just a really cool story about, determination in the face of overwhelming odds. It was a really cool story, but the Persians were better people than the Spartans, because I guarantee you, even King Leonidas got fucked a lot when he was a boy by older men. The Spartans were big on that. They were big on banging bums with little boys. But the war is done, you battle with you conscious. I mean, yeah. When the war is done. I mean, maybe not back then so much, just because like tribalism was so much a part of it. So like, the Spartans were more than kind of gay. They were very gay. Like, But like, so Sparta just didn't have the wherewithal to keep going after a war, because like they just petered out. I mean, like if you can't do anything and you rely completely on slavery in order to have your no, 300 did a horrible representation of them, but there's a reason for that. See, in 300, you have to remember that it's the story of Thermopylae being told by a Spartan to other Spartans. So of course it's going to be exaggerated like crazy, and it's going to, paint them as these crazy, badass heroes that went against the mighty evilness of the Persian Empire. And when he says of the great beasts that came forward, but they were lumbering creatures, and they were, and we demolished them easily. Spartans knew what elephants were, man. They did, and they also knew about the continents of the Far East and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a good movie, but you just have to take it into consideration that it's the Battle of Thermopylae being told by a Spartan to Spartans. So, yeah, great movie, just not historically accurate, but it's not meant to be. Oh, the pagan parties, every Spartan was at a lot. That's funny. Yeah, dude, a Spartan party was like 12 Diddy parties, because everybody that was there was Diddy. Jesus, that's funny as hell. But I give it up to like Xerxes, because when he took over and when he won, he gave Sparta back to the Spartans. The Persian Empire was looked at as a good thing for a reason. When they took over a land, they understood that there was still business to be done afterwards, so they would take over a place where they'd be like, listen, you can keep your religion, you can keep your money form, we're just going to put a big ass statue of Xerxes in your city so you know who you're working for. The Vikings were actually incredibly progressive for their times. Women could own land. If a husband cheated on his wife, she was allowed to like not only hurt him but like get his house. Like the Vikings were actually crazy progressive. And it's like with England, like they were ruled by the Dutch, by the Vikings. They were ruled by so many people. Even the English over there in England, even you guys don't know who you are. Like you say you're English, but like half of y'all are fucking Norman, French, Dutch, German mostly. Like Rome's kick-ass. Rome had its problems, Rome had its own issues as well, as any civilization is going to have. When you get that many people together, you're bound to have a few assholes. There's another one from way later. This isn't the Roman Empire, but like the aqueducts in Portugal. There was you can look this up too. There's this serial killer from Portugal. I cannot remember his name right now. But they actually, they pickled his head in a jar after they hung him. And his head, like to this day, has not rotted at all. It looks exactly like him. It's so kooky. You're looking in the eyes of a serial killer from like 600 years ago, like the 1600s. And like what he would do is he would lure people to the aqueducts, and then he would just shove them right off. He would just push them right over, like, or just, grab them and just whoop, right over the edge. Peace. And since back then there wasn't a whole lot of, detective work and things like that, it was really hard to find. But the thing is that he kept being seen by people with the people that were dead. Like he kept being the last person being seen by him. So they caught him. And they hung him, and they preserved his head in a jar because they wanted to see, like, what's wrong with this guy. S100. They're like, what's wrong with this dude? What causes a man to do this? Like, and 99999. What are you guys gonna do when my beard grows out? You're not gonna have any Hitler jokes left. Like, save them. There's some good ones in there, so just save them for the right time. Then bust them out on me. But thank you for the subscription, Darren. I really appreciate it. I truly do, because I love talking about history. I love talking about music. I love talking about I just like talking to you guys, honestly. Like, it feels really nice to go on my walks and have conversations with people instead of doing it by myself. So yeah, yeah, like I can't remember his name. I want to say it's like Pablo, but I can't remember. But yeah, he was like they want to say he's like the first documented serial killer, but like he's not. Thank you, Roots. Like truly, that's a really nice compliment. Thank you. Um, but there's H.H. Holmes too. You know, that was during the time of like Jack the Ripper and shit. Like, you know, a lot of people think H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper. He wasn't. Like, if you look at the evidence, he just wasn't. How do you build a like literal mansion or like hotel of death, like where there's hidden trapdoor walls and gas like things that can gas people in the rooms, all of which have like sliding doors that lead you to the basement so that he can just test out shit on you? Like, dude, H.H. Holmes was a different breed of psycho. And he was in Chicago during the World's Fair that was happening during 1900, so he just had his pick of the litter when it came to picking up people. Bad bitch Philly fan. Bad bitch Philly fan. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Pleasure to meet you. White Palace. Yeah, I mean, is that what his hotel was called? I can't remember. But H.H. Holmes was a madman, like and on a different level. You know, like we don't even know how many people he killed. Like, so. The Devil in White City Brook. I don't know if that's what H.H. Holmes went by. At that time, you know, so many weird things going on. You had Jack the Ripper going on over in England, and we still don't know who he is. We're never gonna know who he was. Like, but I guarantee you, he was a nobody. Like, I guarantee you, he was just somebody that lived around the Whitechapel area and was just a fucking psychopath, like literally a sexual deviant psychopath. And you can tell if you look at Mary Shelley's body, just like if you understand crime and what to look at, you can understand the kind of headspace this guy had. Jack the Ripper was horrifying. I guarantee you, though, within the reason the murders dropped off so quick with Jack the Ripper is because he got caught doing something else and they hung him. Like, that's probably most likely what happened, you know? The Devil in the White City is actually a book about J.J. Holmes and the mystery surrounding his house's arson and such. Oh, okay, then that's based on H.H. Holmes, I would imagine. H.H. Holmes was really good at the people that came in. He would use their bank deeds and their land ownership cards and stuff like that in order to purchase their land. And that's how he would get more money to make his death hotel. And as much as that's psychotic, building a death hotel, does one have to slightly admire the amount of dedication that takes to do that? Oh, okay, yeah. H.H. Holmes, yeah. Then you know what I'm talking about, yeah. He, dude, you have to be a psychopath to be that, motivated. You know what I mean? Like, where's my fucking... It's in my pocket, isn't it? It's in my pocket. Let's see. It does. If it is about H.H. Holmes, that's I'd read it, definitely. Y'all gonna get on my ass about this, I know, but like my favorite serial killer, I know, like, that's a stupid thing to say right after that. My favorite serial killer. Okay, the one I'm interested in the most is Edmund Kemper. And that's because he's like the perfect example of someone who could have been good, but fell through the cracks. You know, he killed both of his grandparents when he was like 8, when he was like, I don't know, like fucking 14 or some shit, 16. Like, and, but it's because like, his grandmother was just such a toxic human being to him, and his mother was, so he ended up with huge female hang-ups. You know, he would kill cats because cats represent femininity in the human mind, and so he would do that, and like eventually he got put into a psych ward where the boy had 147 IQ. That is insane Like I took an IQ test. Mine's only 114. Like the average, I think, is like 98. But like, uh, Edmund was clever in a sense, but I don't know. I mean, like he was smart too. Like he used the most simple options to get around the cops. He like went to their bars and was friends with them, and then he would just watch detective shows on television and pay attention to how they went about things. Like he even knew that when they went to like the victims' funerals, that they would take pictures and study all the faces of who was there. Like he knew that, so he knew not to go to the victims' funerals, even though like he thought about it. Like plus, we're talking about a dude that's 6'10", weighs 350 pounds, dude. What? Imagine that coming at you in a car, dude. Jesus. But at the same time, like, yeah, like Columbo, yes, like he would watch stuff like that, and he'd be like, in the thing that you see here, I'm just trying to put together these little clues here, like, and Edmund just watched that, and he got his clues for the cops from there. You could do the same thing today watching Law and Order, dude. You watch Law and Order, or like any inception of Law and Order, because there's like Law and Order. At some point, there's gonna be like Law and Order Antarctica, like that's like which scientist killed this scientist on a base of 5 people, like ugh. Even prison, he would psych train inmates. Yeah. That's the thing. Like Edmund got out when he was 21 because the system, one, let him go, and number two, he knew exactly what to say to his psychologist and psychiatrist. He knew just what to say. Let's face it, a lot of us know just what to say to our psychiatrist. We know what to say to get what we want. The key is not doing that, because you're not getting help at that point. You're fucking using the system for the wrong reasons. By the way, my mom bought me this shawl, and I love it so much that I just decided I'm going to wear it whenever it's chilly, and it's chilly today. So, like, but, where I live, it's weird. It's chilly right now, 60 degrees. Later on today, it'll probably be 80. Yeah, no, I know. He, the guy that was in the cell next to him, he would fuck with him. But then the other inmates would too. And my mom does love me. She's the best mom, Go hug your moms. Legitimately. I wish I could hug my dad again. Even though, like, at the end, like, do you know what's really, like, touching? When my dad had no memory left, like, none, he would still say, is Christian home? He would just ask my mom that at random. And he had dementia brought on by Parkinson's. I'm sorry, doctor, where. That was insensitive of me to say that, not knowing people's situations. R.I.P. to your mom, then, by all means. I bet she raised a really good guy. My dad, still at the end, when he couldn't remember anything, was still saying his Christian home, which, like, leads me to believe maybe it's just me trying to make myself feel better, but like it makes me feel like he felt safer when I was in the house, and that meant a lot to me. I also just found out a lot about like what the story of my birth mother was, and like why she put me up for adoption after one long weekend, and like now I get it. Now I totally get it. I don't got anger from my mom in here anymore. Like, nah, like I get it now. Like, the situation she was in was hellfire and brimstone, You have to tell them that you're only interested in the sexual part of the. You have to be honest. You're only interested in the sexual part of it. You're not interested in a relationship. Just be up forward and honest. That's all you can do. I miss my nan, though. I miss my nan, too. Hi, Bailey. Rock on. I miss my grandmother, too. My Grammy. She was awesome. But she died when I was 5, so I don't remember a whole lot about her. And my grandpa died when I was 7. But he called me Poco Niño. That was funny. He would just call me Poco Niño, little boy. If you don't know Spanish, but I'm not trying to be pedantic, like, by saying that. Anyway, but yeah, like, Yeah, the let's get back to the serial killer topic. That was nifty. Yeah, Edmund Kemper was something different. And the only reason I say that is because when you listen to him talk, when you watch his interviews, you find yourself wanting to listen to him. It's weird. Like because you know what he did. Like so you're like, okay, this guy's bad, like legitimately. But somewhere in Edmund Kemper's head, he is just as disgusted, just as revolted by what he's done as we are. And I think that's what separates him from other serial killers. Yeah, yeah, Kemper will draw you in, man. He is a interesting person. And you can be a horrible, horrible monster and still be an interesting person. I like Ed Kemper. Like, I don't like what he did. I don't like who he is as a person and his actions or deeds. But would I sit down and talk with the guy? Yeah, probably. But what he did is absolutely horrific. You know, I would never try to in any way do that. I'm not one of those like Columbine, I'm not one of those like white kids that like looks up to Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. Because like if you look into them, like it's just like somebody should have got these kids a fucking therapist and all that could have been avoided. Like legitimately. Like it was a bullying problem brought on by like just not enough communication with their kids. But like I'm also gonna cut them a bit of slack. Yeah, I would talk to him through bulletproof glass, but like I honestly, if you're a man, I don't think you have anything to worry about with Ed Kemper. Like no. If you're a woman, you should be fucking terrified of Ed Kemper. But Ed's different around men, you know. It's that weird serial killer tied to their mother's thing. Usually, and even if they do grow, sometimes they grow up in a good home. Like look at Dahmer. Like he grew up in like a fairly good home with parents that gave a shit. Like, and he just went crooked, which is why sometimes I believe that like, yeah, no, it's still their choice to do that. That's what makes them bad. You know, that's what makes them horrible because they chose to do that. You know, that's why this whole blackout thing, I blacked out and I don't remember. That's some hardcore bullshit. What do I think of Aileen Wuornos? I think that poor thing. That's what I think. She never had a chance from the day she was born to be a regular human being. Like she just never had a chance. Like from her brothers to her uncle to her brother's friends, all raping her, to her being forced to get an abortion. And you did spell it correctly. I think her first murder was self-defense, or at least her snapping. Like, so I think that like she did get assaulted and raped on that first one, and then I think she just snapped and just decided, you know what, fuck these guys. And she knew that since she was a prostitute, she could get to them, and she had a fucking revolver, so she brought them out to the middle of nowhere and shot them. Now, here's my big thing. Like, they never questioned why these guys were out there to begin with. They never cared that these guys were soliciting sex workers. Was Aileen out of her fucking mind? Absolutely. She was tapped. Like, absolutely tapped. Who, what, where? That's actually a really cool fun fact. Okay, after Aileen. Well, real quick. There was a kid in my house one time whose ancestor was actually Giles Corey from the Salem witch trials. He was a friend of a friend. He didn't know the name of his own ancestor. He was like, my ancestor got crushed to death during the Salem witch trials. And I'm like, your ancestor was Giles Corey? Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, like Aileen and her girl, they fucked up. And where they fucked up is, you know, crashing the stolen car and then like running away and shit. Like just like that was the beginning of the end, you know, for that. But do I think Aileen should have been put to death? No. Well, I think Aileen should have been put in a hospital for dangerous mental patients. Probably should have been there the rest of her life, but should she have been killed? No. She literally thought they were pumping like gas and like secret radio waves into her prison cell to try to control her thoughts and shit. Like, so the woman was insane. So like, without speaking anything of the death penalty, Um, you don't put down someone who's clearly batshit insane. Like, you know, it's just because she was out of it. She wasn't even in the right world, you know? Eileen's dead. I can't believe Ed's still alive. Like, but when you're that big, I guess, in jail, no one's gonna fuck with you, dude. Like, like legitimately. In video, not in person, just to make it correctly. Right. Eileen never had a chance in hell, and that's why I feel bad for her, you know, like she never ever had a chance to be a normal person. It's like her entire life was just set up for her to be a monster. But monsters aren't born, they're created. At least I think that sometimes, but I don't know sometimes. Sometimes you hear these stories on Reddit and shit. Now you don't know if they're real or not, but they sound that they could be like a real situation. Or if you've ever seen We Need to Talk About Kevin, like stuff like that. Now I know in We Need to Talk About Kevin, it's supposed to focus on Tilda Swinton's character more so, and how her failures as a mother, and how she's more a mother to be like to feel good about herself rather than her child. I know the book focuses more on that, but the movie does show that, like, I think some kids can just be bad seeds. Like, I don't know, but I don't think that's like, I think that's mental stuff, you know. That's your brain's synapses aren't firing the right way. The connections aren't connecting correctly. You know, because look at Mary Bell back in like the early 1900s when she was over in Liverpool. Like, she was 10 and she killed 2 little boys. Like, but they put her into the system, you know, took like amazing care of her, gave her psychiatric care that whole time. When she came out, like, they changed her name, gave her a new address, never released it to the public. She ended up having a completely normal life, a family, kids, grandkids. She's a grandmother right now. Like, and so, like, I'm just saying the system of rehabilitation can work, just not on everybody. That's for damn sure. Not on everybody. There's some people that just do not need to be in society, and it may not be their fault because their head is fucked up, but, like, just because your head is fucked up doesn't mean you're not dangerous. Like, you know, so Reagan kind of fucked up closing down the mental institutions. However, the mental institutions of that day were like prisons for crazy people, or more like medieval torture dungeons with the stuff they did to people, with the cold baths and the hot towel wraps and stuff like that, where like you couldn't move. Like, you don't understand how scary it is to not be able to move until you're like strapped down to something. You know, when I woke up in the ambulance after my car accident, I was handcuffed to the gurney. Not being able to get up, like, is suddenly very panicking. Like, it's like, you know, you wake up and you can't move, whatever. So I can only imagine being awake. Yeah, straitjackets, electroshock therapy, and just also like beatings on the regular, guards that were literally more psychopathic than the people they were looking after. Like, so they would, knowing that these people couldn't ask for help from anybody from the outside because no one would care. I mean, you could get put in there for feeling listless, which just means that, like, you feel like kind of lost. You don't really know what to do, and they could just chuck you into a sanatorium. Insane. Like, man, am I talking about Richie Ramirez? I don't know, man. But yeah, no, like there was one here in Massachusetts. Holy Christ. Like there was a sanatorium here in Massachusetts that was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Geraldo Rivera did a juxtapose on it, or an expose on it, when, like, back in like the 70s, and like they went in there and it was pitch black dark, not a single light on. People in the nude, covered in feces and just running around in the dark. You know, it looked like something out of like what was that Will Smith movie where all the people went nuts and went underground? It was like that. Hi, I am Soup. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you here. Yes, him. And do you know the other guy who killed an old woman pretending to do guard work? That I've heard the cell phone call about that. Like, if that's the one you're talking about. I Am Legend. Yes, thank you. If it's the one you're talking about, Roots, it's that 911 call that they use to train 911 callers, and she goes like, I'm a little old lady. I don't know what's going on. Someone stopped by my house and he was knocking on the door and asking if he could do some help, and I'm a little old lady. I don't know. Hold on a second. And then you just hear the most blood-curdling scream you've ever heard in your life. Yeah, she survived that, actually. Like she survived that, which is like amazing. But at the same time, like if you're that old and you survived that, like you ain't ever gonna be normal again, like ever. Because I can't imagine living that long and like having a peaceful life and shit like that, and then someone breaks into your house, tries to slit your throat, and then like leaves. Like what the fuck? Like, and that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago, dude. I got this from my mom off of techware.com. That's not a plug for a website. It's just where I got it from. Hot Topic managers, did anybody else notice that they always kind of had this like attitude of like smugness when we went in there? When we were teenagers, like we wanted to buy stuff, but then they go in there. Yeah, I got some grays. See, but like I'm in my yard. I like being outside even if I'm doing nothing. Like even if I'm just watching YouTube, I'd rather be outside than in the house. Maycore 2024. Hello, pleasure to have you here. The history of killers is weird. In the 70s, they called the golden age of serial killing, and I get it. It's because like serial killers had figured out that like technology hadn't caught up to them yet. So like that was the kind of time where you could like kill somebody, go to another state, and like and they would they wouldn't be able to track you because like they weren't working together. Like yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel more connected to the world when I'm outside, even if I'm not doing anything. Like, when my neighbors walk by, I give them a hey, and stuff like that. It feels nice. I watched two brothers descend into schizophrenia like insanity, one at 22, one at late 50. That said, most crazies are probably made by tragic upbringing. That is completely correct. Most crazies are usually either a matter of like developmentally challenged things, or it usually is either abuse or the other end of the spectrum of abuse, which is just complete neglect. Like when and those parents weird me out. Whenever it's the parents that are starving their kids to death, they're always like 350 pounds. Like I'm like, dude, just let them eat you. Like, It's like, well, we know where your food stamps are going, or where not food stamps, because people who are in the foster care system, it's like we know where the government money for taking care of the kids, we know where it's actually going now. It's going straight to your gut. Like, and it's sad because I'm like, dude, how do you care about yourself more than kids? Like, how do you, like, seriously? Like, you're raising the next generation of adults who's going to be in charge of the world when you can't use the bathroom correctly. Maybe treat them so that they can take care of you, Give them an education so they actually know how to use the machines that are keeping you alive. That's, Should China threaten USA? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't looked at the news thing yet. Usually I go on, like, Best Gore, like, Live Gore. I'll usually go on there to catch up with the news because they get the news before the news stations do. Like, don't go to gore sites though. Like, I'm telling you, people, like as a legitimate like concern, don't go to them. It fucks your mind up. The innocence that you had when you were a kid, gone. Like, oh, my bad. So, my bad about that then. I make mistakes and I'll admit to them. So if I fucked up on that one, my bad, Roots. Um, but I like how Ed Kemper didn't respect Charles Manson, like, because neither did I. Like, in a sense that, like, you know, why should you? Like, Charles Manson is a weird, polarizing figure because, like, people saw him as some sort. I don't know how anyone saw him other than like this weak little pissant. Like, legitimately, it's like, you got a bunch of teenagers to think that you were some sort of fucking guru by feeding them LSD and then speaking pseudoscience to them, which they had never heard before. No, I don't wish I was Charles Manson. Even if he was like, even with the cult of personality that he has, I don't want that cult of personality, and he's dead. So, no, I don't want to be him. I was frequented on gore sites. Now I cannot get it out of my head. The world is a cruel place and there's no one watching. That's the thing. Like, that's why I go on gore sites. It's to keep myself in check. Like, it's to keep myself knowing what's going on in other parts of the world, to know what I'm talking about. That's a compliment, dude. You know what, Roots? I'm going to agree with you on that because I absolutely fucking hate that my favorite quote is from that guy's fucking mouth. You know, now is the only thing that's real. He's right. I abashedly and ashamedly admit that he's right. Like, guys, I'm nothing like Brian. I'm not like Marilyn Manson. He's been through worse shit than I have, actually. The quote was, now is the only thing that's real. You know? The priests used to watch over the people. Now they're watching the people. I hate that those are true and came out of Charles fucking Manson's mouth. Because he was an egotist. He was an egotist. He was a narcissist. He thought he was just this great, grandiose, like, Socrates of his time. And it's just like, no, Charles, you were on a bunch of acid talking to teenagers. Of course they thought they knew what you were talking about. They had never heard of concepts you were talking of before. They were young, impressionable, and on a head full of acid. You know? No, you don't need gore sites, but you'll find about them sooner, and you'll also see things that the news will never fucking show you. And you shouldn't enjoy going to gore sites. You go them to learn and to honestly keep yourself in fucking check. Like, because I am terrified, and you should be too, of the cartels. Holy Christ. Dude, they can find you no matter where the fuck you are, no matter who the hell you are, and they can just, like, surround your house like a fucking SWAT team at 4 a.m. We're talking, like, what? Like, what? Like, it's like, and it goes from the streets all the way to the government. Like, and you find this shit out, like, and then you see what they do. You see what they do to anyone, you know? Sometimes ignorance is healthy. It doesn't bother me anymore, you know what I mean? I have tried smoking meth. It was, it actually wasn't that bad. Crack was worse. Emo Hitler. That's a new one. Thanks, my mom got it for me, so. And I love the stitching on it, like. So, I wear it when it's chilly out. Yeah, I mean, you know, don't, I saw that one too, by the way. The thing. Yeah. Antichrist reacts. I saw that video too. I've seen way more of subway accidents. Yeah, my mom's awesome. Thank you, Wantley. And thank you for saying that about me. It means a lot. FC, that's just mean. I just had to say it. Thank you. Let's see. I never got close to the platform edge. That's the key. That's the key. Here's what I don't understand. What you know how like they have like the doom doom doors in like New York and shit like that. Where you got to put $1 in. Why don't they just put that in front of where the subway doors are? Yeah, like you don't have to pay to go through them, but they lock until the subway doors open. And then I guess inconvenience. I would more say it's just money that New York doesn't want to spend. Um, but yeah, I've seen so many people. One that I thought was actually kind of funny was these two guys were fighting in the New York subway, and one of them fell on the track. So the other guy he was fighting pulled him up back onto the thing before the train got by. So it was just like, dudes, I think life just showed you priorities in like the fastest sense. They just like sped run priorities, like. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like, but like I don't see how hard it is to put up like just something that stops people from falling in front of the trains. Like somebody's gonna jump in front of a train. It's just gonna fucking happen. Like, is that a glow cart? Dude, I fucking wish I had a go-kart. No, I don't have enough space in my to have a go-kart. But yeah, you're right. To retrofit a train station, that would take so much time and effort, and it would actually slow down, it would slow down the money production for the rest of the city. So it literally is not like it wouldn't be a good idea. However, I don't see how hard it is to put up a guardrail. It's like someone trips, falls, hits the guardrail. Yay, they're not on the track. That yellow line that tells you to stay this far back. Cool idea, but Americans are Americans, bro. We're gonna be like, yo, fuck that yellow line. That yellow line dissed my fucking family. We're like that. We get beefs for nothing. Tricky part is getting the trains to stop exactly where the doors are on platform are apparently. I think you could fix that with like an algorithm, honestly. And yes, profit will always come before morality in America. That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't even have to be a full wall. It could be like just a I can't find the word right now because I'm thinking so much, but I'm thinking so fast. But like the just a guardrail, just a guardrail. What's the situation though? Are people needing to walk over the tracks to get somewhere? Like, is it a road both sides? No, people commit suicide in front of them. But also the bigger problem is that people push people in front of trains sometimes. Yeah, America! Fuck yeah! That's us. That's how most people are in America. I don't see the point in it. I don't see in being Djangoistic. Thank you, Wolo. And thank you for the sub. I'm trying to see what S does. Prophet does have some good takes, doesn't he? Attaboy is unhinged. I'm unhinged? Do I have boogers in my eyes? All right. Well, thank you for thanks for anyway. I did have boogers in my eyes. So yeah, no, the train, dude, if you're gonna go on public transit nowadays in America anyway, if you're not living here and you maybe I don't know about London. I don't live there. I can't say anything about it. But I've watched people pick fights in New York on a bus, and then when someone tries to check them and put them in their place, they just whip out a fucking knife, just start stabbing, bro, just stabbing. And it's like, so, um, the if you're on public transit, dude, at least bring a knife with you. You know, bring a knife. If you're in a carry state, bring a gun. Don't look for trouble ever. Don't ever look for trouble. But try to stop it if you can. I have a story. Here's a story that I have, and it's actually mine. This is fantastic. Little story. Let me share with you kids. Pull up a seat next to Grandpappy or next to Unca, and I'll tell you something. Let me tell you a story from back in the day. I was at the grocery store one time. I call this the grape story. Or no, I'm sorry, the blueberry story. It's called the blueberry story. That's what it is. The blueberry story. Yeah, I have a tack baton that I use when I'm going out. But honestly, I don't go out that much to places that I know are that dangerous. Like, not the point. Anyway, the blueberry story. I was grocery shopping, and as I was heading like down close to the aisles, there was a woman in front of me carrying a box of those blueberries, and the poor thing dropped it, and they went everywhere. And I am watching a circle of people watch this poor woman trying to pick up blueberries one by one and get them back into the box. Nobody doing anything. So I just started picking up blueberries and helping them, and just started helping her pick up the blueberries. And that's when everybody else started to come in and help cleaning up blueberries, started help picking up blueberries. And that's when I learned that if you don't do it, nobody else will. If you don't help somebody, or you don't step in when it needs to be done, no one else will. You don't know if anyone else will. The only decision that you have, the only person you can control is you. So and the bystander effect is such a real thing. People see that nobody else is doing anything. So do something. So you do something. Start the movement. All people need sometimes is one person to just get the ball rolling in the right direction. And then people will be like, oh, I should be helping this woman pick up blueberries. Why am I not doing this? It kind of snaps them out of the bystander effect. And that's the blueberry story. That's what it taught me. That was a big lesson I learned that day. That, if no one's going to help, if no one else will, then it's got to be you. Thanks, Nunya. I'm glad you guys agree with me. I am Soup and Wolo. And you're right. The best self-defense is staying out of trouble. You should know. I mean, take some martial arts, just to make sure that you've got the technique down. Because people that fight on the street don't have technique. So if you have technique, it'll be so much easier to just avoid them. When they're trying to come at you, you can be like, dude, just leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. And eventually, when they realize, when that adrenaline wears off, they're gonna realize that they look foolish. You look like a seventh grader, and they're gonna get embarrassed, and they're gonna be like, you know what, dude, I'm sorry, this was stupid, and then you just go on with your day. It ain't worth what was it Chris Rock said in the No Sex in the Champagne Room? It ain't worth going to jail because someone smudged your Puma. Shadow boxing, great form. Just make sure you got the technique down first. Otherwise, you're teaching yourself garbage technique. And don't go have you guys seen those videos of those guys that go into martial arts dojos, or they go into boxing gyms and they just challenge the biggest dude they see? That's so stupid. So they'll give the guy they'll give the guy that wants to fight the biggest guy, they'll give him the smallest guy. And the smallest guy will whoop the shit out of him, because technique is so important. When it comes to boxing, when I watch those guys, it's incredible. The way they slip and dip punches, that's insane, because you have to move forward to slip a punch, not back to dodge it. And moving back when you dodge a punch puts you off balance and puts you in a really bad place, because then you're stepping backwards. You got no fucking control. They're not the same thing at all, man. Boxing is so good to know with MMA. That's why I'd say learn wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and boxing. Those are the 4 you need to know. That's it. You don't need anything else. Yeah, dude, I've done jujitsu I did jujitsu for a long time, and it was like, thank God for it. You know, when I got beat down and I got hit in the bat with the face and like in the face with that, and uh, I had to get this plate put in. It's part of the reason why I'm missing my teeth, and I got the studs put in because I'm waiting for the check to come in so that I can go get my implants put in. They're all done and like made. I just got to have them put in. Mm. I know it's surprising, guys, like my teeth, but believe it or not, there's a fuck ton of people out there that are just like me. That's what I'm saying. Like basic, like that's the thing, S. Dot. Yeah, and you're completely right. Just like a bit of technique and working out a bit is going to give you a massive advantage over any street fighter, because they're going to come at you with big haymakers, like big flowing haymakers, and it's unbelievably easy to dodge those haymakers. And there's not even, I can't super chat yet. I don't have 1,000 followers. Um, I'll put up my Cash App once I have one, but I have to go to the bank and open a checking account and then hook that checking account to a Venmo or Cash App, you know. Hell yeah, Blaze, do it up. I'm not a future champion, dude. I just did martial arts because when I was in high school, I was afraid, you know. The drug addiction, and I got assaulted with a baseball bat, which led harder into the drug addiction, and my teeth just rotted out. And then I went to the dentist and started getting implants put in, but they're insanely expensive, you know, just insanely expensive. But be a champ, dude. I honestly, with the goals I have in my life, I don't have the time to be a professional fighter. Those guys put in so much time and effort to training and weight cutting and like, all the stuff. Like, I couldn't do it. I know that I couldn't do that. I know. I've been through some shit, dude. No, I'm not homeless. I know a lot of homeless people, but I am not homeless. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like they say dental access, a lot of it they say is like, even if they say it's cosmetic right off the bat, and that's like an easy way to get um the insurance companies to get a huge payout, you know? Dude, I'm not homeless. My house is right there. I'm not homeless. I know homeless people though. Who's Trevor? Oh, Trevor from GTA? Okay. I don't think I look that bad, but whatever. Dude, that sucks. Wisdom teeth can come in sideways and really fuck your jaw up. What up, Leclerc? I have a hard time calling you Sarah because I know you're using another account. Thanks. Trevor was. I thought it was cool that Trevor was a. Why do wisdom teeth come sideways? Because we don't need them anymore. Our jaws aren't as big as they used to be. They don't jut out as far. So yeah, your wisdom teeth often come in this way, and they'll push your back teeth, and that fucks up all of your teeth. Like so, yeah. Most of the nicest people I've met have been drug addicts, and it's because they've been so low, we've been so low that we don't have the ability to judge anyone, and we understand that. Daniel, good, I can call you that. Like Leclerc, very French. I'm French myself. So, but yeah, I mean, Bruce Lee even said, and he studied, Wing Chun and, made Jeet Kune Do. Um, I don't get paid for this live stream yet. I'm gonna open a Cash App, so if you guys would like to send me money, I'd be not only flabbergasted, but unbelievably gracious. Like, that would help me get my instruments back and help me give my mom some money towards, paying the rent on the house and stuff. Right now, I just try busking, and any money that I make from that, I just give right to my mom. Very cool. I'm French Canadian from my dad's side and Parisian Canadian. Wow. I'm French Canadian on my dad's side and Parisian Canadian on. I said it again. Parisian French on my mom's side. And also on my dad's side, I'm part Huron Nation, which is funny because like my dad is a MAGA supporter and stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. I don't. I wish I did. Holy Christ, do I wish I could speak French. But like I speak a little bit of Spanish, and French is so difficult. Not only because the words are different, but because the sentence structure is unbelievably different. Like if you're gonna be like throw the hay over the fence to me, there, like you'd throw it like the way that it would be said in French if you translated it to English directly would be like that hay throw to me over the fence, and that's like what? Like, I speak American English. I am nowhere close. I need about 900 more subscribers. What's the difference? We spell things differently and pronounce things differently. Like on their periodic table of elements, like when they say aluminium, that's how they spell it. And that's how it's spelled, I guess, is aluminium. But Americans made it aluminum for some reason. I don't know why. I'm at 222. 20% of the way there. Chugging along. How do you spell apple in America? A-P-P-L-E. Percent of the way there. There you go. That's the way I look at it. Kimbo Slice did start up as a street fighter, but he was actually a fucking horrible fighter, dude. If you go back and watch his videos, if you took about a year of boxing lessons and like really put like the weight on, you could beat Kimbo Slice. But I'm not gonna dunk on the guy because he made it to the UFC off of that talent, and he made a boatload of money. And unfortunately, he died of a heart attack, and that's a fucking shame because he was still a pretty young man, and he didn't seem like a bad guy. I mean, he was doing those backyard street fights. The way I think Kimbo Slice, the way he got that name was he was fighting for slices of bread because he was homeless. Like so, Raja Jackson is a problem. Because he has so many problems. But his problems were put there by Quentin. And we all know that. We all know that Quentin is the reason why Raja is the way he is. Because Quentin has never treated Raja like a son. He's always treated him like... he's always treated him like a homie. Or like a drinking buddy. Or even a competitor. How do you treat your son like that? Like how do you go on a podcast and admit that you choked your son out? You're like, yeah, that motherfucker went to the hospital that day. Bro, you're his dad. You're not supposed to brag about that shit. Someone, Mienche, who was on here earlier, he pointed out something that blew my fucking mind with me and my father's relationship. My dad was such a great dad when I was little. And then all of a sudden I when I started turning 12, 13, like he kind of drew back. I never saw him. And Miente put it perfectly. I got too big. Just that simple sentence. I got too big. And he was completely right. And I couldn't believe that I didn't realize that for all that time. It was like, oh my God, I got too big. That's what it was. I was bigger than my dad. And my dad couldn't handle that. Now, as a father, I would think that if my son was bigger than me, I'd be proud of the kid. Is that true, Mitten? My mom knows a little Latin. I don't. I know some phrases in Latin, like in vene veritas, requiescat in pace. I know a few, I like a few of them, but Latin in itself is weird. Just the sentence structure again. But I do like how like Spanish, French, Italian, they all span off of Latin. Yeah, it's cool. So when you like, if you go back and you listen to like Assassin's Creed Origins, when you hear people talking like real Latin, it sounds like a amalgam of all three languages. It's very cool to listen to. That game was mind blowing to me, but I fell off Assassin's Creed after that game. It started getting stupid. Like, I liked it originally because of all the historical things that it went into, and also that its belief about, like, about the history of man actually is kind of what I believe. Like, I believe that mankind, as we are now, have been around way longer than we think we have. Like, we think we've been around, like, 700,000 years or something like that as hominids. I think it's been way, way, way longer. Like, way longer. But I think that there must have been a major cataclysm at some point in time that brought the Earth's population down to, like, 10,000. And then that effectively restarted history, yeah. So I just think man's been around for a lot longer than we think we've had. Like, I think we survived a mass extinction event. It brought like the population of the whole world down to about 10,000, which essentially restarted time, restarted history, and that's where we get everything we got now. That's what I think. That's what I think. Like, even like the book of the Bible could have like come from something like that, I do understand the actual storyline, Daniel. It just like it started going off once after they killed Desmond. Like, you can't tell me it didn't. But one thing that I thought was really cool, Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs, he kills the lead member of Abstergo from Assassin's Creed, which shows that the Watch Dogs universe is in the same universe as the Assassin's Creed universe. Because in Assassin's Creed Origins, if you look on Layla's computer, it shows the death of the CEO of Abstergo, and you see him on the bridge with a man in a trench coat and a baseball cap pointing a deagle at him and busting his ass down. So I was like, holy shit, that's Aiden. Like, and so I went back to Watch Dogs and I played it, and one of the last missions on Watch Dogs, one of the last ones, is for the Abstergo industry, and you have to go take out the lead guy. And I was like, Aiden works with the assassins? Like, holy shit. But then, like, I remember, like, Aiden doesn't work with anyone. Like even DedSec tries to get him, like, to join, and he's like, no. Because Aiden, like, is totally, like, the absolute best picture of what an anarchist is supposed to be. Ubermensch is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous topic, because there's no such thing as one. Yeah, it's kind of like that. But that extinct animals thing, and then, humans restarting history, that's literally like what Assassin's Creed plot was. And I was like, did these guys farm my brain? Like, holy Christ, I couldn't believe it, because it was exactly what I thought. Like, what they were talking about with Adam and Eve, what if they were like just the first two to like discover something in a lab, like, and that was maybe like a botanist lab, so it started eventually being referred to as the garden and stuff like that. It's if it is the story of Prometheus is like what were they called, the progenitors? They like made the aliens, plus they made the original form of that. I don't know, H.R. Giger's work and all that thing behind Alien. It's fucking confusing. It's amazing, but it's confusing. And yes, I hated the whole Desmond shit, but apparently that's going to come back eventually, hopefully. Anyways, hell yeah. Also, the new Assassin's Creed that takes place in Japan, I got nothing against it being Yasuke being the lead character. Like, I got nothing against that. He was the only black samurai. He was a real person. The only thing I'm griping about is, did it have to be a black character when the game takes place in Japan? You could have had a Japanese lead character. I don't know. Miyamoto Musashi could show up somewhere along the way. You know? What is Yoda? YOTA? I mean, like, I might know what that is. I don't. You said you dropped off after Origins, but if you have time, you'd probably like Assassin's Creed Mirage. Mirage did look fucking amazing. You're right. You're right. You're right. I should give Mirage a shot because that one goes back, like, you know, and looks like it has more to do with like Bayek's assassins, you know, not Altair and Ezio's assassins. Because let's face it, those were two different, you know, it's the same creed, same brotherhood, but different, you know. And 2025, baby. Wow. And like, you know, like it's crazy because like since time dilation, as we get older, time, you know, how as you get older, you're like, man, these years are going by quickly. Well, they actually are to you, like to all of us, because of time dilation. Like think when you're 1 years old, or when you're 5 years old, okay, 1 year is 1/5 of your life. So of course it seems like a long effing time. When you're 88, 1 year is 1/88th of your life. So it doesn't seem that long. But it's time dilation, yeah. Albert Einstein talked about that. Same creed, different branch. Yeah, exactly. That's why they stopped cutting their fingers off and started, like, Altair was the one that, like, I loved Altair. He's my favorite assassin, really. Like, and I know, I know he's the first guy. Of course, you like him the best. But no, I like him because he's Altair ibn Lahad, like, which translates to Altair, son of no one. And I feel that on a deep level. I connect with video game characters, you know? It's like Bayek felt like this kind of brother figure that because I felt his pain in losing his son. The ghost of isn't it? I thought it was the ghost of Yokai, but I've heard of Ghost of Tsushima, the Ghost of Tsushima. Like those, that game looks amazing, and I want to play it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like even Watch Dogs, like that, like Legion sucked, but then, uh, but then Bloodlines came out, and they brought Aiden back, and it was like, okay, now we have a plot again. They brought back Aiden and Wrench. Like, so all of a sudden we had like characters we recognized and gave a shit about. Like, God. Also, one thing that I liked about Aiden Pierce is that he was fucking 38, and I'm 38. But when I was playing the game, I was 32. But like, it felt good to have a character that wasn't a fucking teenager. You know, I'm sorry. Like, I think it's nice because then teenagers can like, you know, kind of get some escapism and believe into a, you know, escaping into a world or what. Yeah, Legion was just like, dude, I was like, what have you done to my beautiful game? Like, Watch Dogs 1 was so good. Watch Dogs 2 was fucking awesome. Like, the way they replicated San Francisco. I've been there. It looked exactly the same. It was incredible. And then Origins, amazing. And then the Viking shit. The Roman Athens shit where you had to be a fucking Spartan. I already went on about the Spartans. Hi, Emeritus. Like, and like, so it was hard for me to get behind being a character who is a Spartan. Not to mention they started turning it into like a game where you could choose like what the dialogue was. Video games. What's that space one that was wicked famous? Where the captain could be, you could choose the captain to be male or female. Commander Shepard. it seemed like the one with Commander Shepard in it. It seemed like Mass Effect. Thank you. It seemed like they were trying to turn Assassin's Creed into Mass Effect in the past. That's what it felt like. Because it was like, why are you going to give us Antonius if Cassandra is the actual canon character? What's the fucking point in putting Antonius in there then? Other than that some guys are so insecure that they don't want to play a lead female character. They didn't make it 4. Bloodlines is like a DLC on 3. But it's still great to me because like they're always asking Aiden for help, and he's always just so not interested. Aiden acts like someone who has autism, and I'm just really happy to have a character. He's 42 now in the series, but it's nice to have a character who's like a little older. You know, Jesus. I'm yapping about video games, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, and right now those two and how they're connected in the same universe, and how both of them are so good. But like the first and second were good. With Assassin's Creed, a whole mess of them were good. 3, I wanted to love so much because you got to be Rakata Keton or Connor, you know, and he's a Mohawk, so I'm indigenous and I live in Massachusetts, so I wanted that game to be so good, and it wasn't. Like, as much, I hate that it wasn't. Like, Assassin's Creed 3, the plot was flimsy, the missions were just so basic, in a sense that, like, let's put Connor at every major event that happened in Massachusetts during during the Revolutionary War, and it's just like, dude, that's stupid. Like, you know, he's at the Battle of Lexington, he goes on Paul Revere's run, he fucking fights next to George Washington. Like, are you kidding me, dude? It's just like, there's so many ways you could have done that better. Not flood myth stuff, just the harshness of evolution and competition and reflection on the survivor of battle. Yes, exactly. I know. Assassin's Creed 3, I wanted to like it so bad, but it's not good, and I hated that. I'm like, why do you got to do my people like that? Why do you got to make the one Assassin's Creed where you're a Native American suck? And give it the best combat platform. With like the dodge and being able to like counterattack, like that was like Connor had the coolest, one of the coolest hidden blades too, because it went shink and then it went down like a blade. But then he used a hatchet, and you can't tell me that wasn't ripped right out of The Patriot by Mel Gibson. It totally was. You know, his character Benjamin uses a hatchet and a knife, and Connor uses it kind of the same way. So I started seeing like. Just Ubisoft getting lazy, you know what I mean? You know, they did the one that was in France during the French Revolution, and that one was unreal with the amount of people that were in it, but like but it just had so many bugs. And I don't know why, for a split second, Ubisoft, is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft? I don't know. I don't know why in hell they thought a game with the engine of Assassin's Creed would work as a multiplayer game. That is ridiculous. We're talking about a game where you sneak up on people and it's all one-shot kills. Like, so basically it's just you sneak up, you kill your target, and then inevitably another target kills you, and then you kill your next target ad infinitum. Like, you know, and AC Unity, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like, you know, you walk through. That's what caught me with the first Assassin's Creed when you were Altair. You know, like you could walk in between the monks and like the guards wouldn't notice you. He would like gently push people aside when he walked through the streets. These were details that did not exist before Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed was a platform like stalwart. If you notice after Assassin's Creed, all of a sudden everybody's got that. Every game has that super hearing thing where you can kind of see through the walls. The Last of Us had it. Like Watch Dogs had it. Like a lot of these. So like I heard a cool theory that like what if all these characters that have like that ability to like do that, what if they're all actually assassins? Like what if they actually had that assassin gene that lets them do that? Like, what if that was the case? I thought that was just a really cool, like, hypothesis. Watching other players take enemies out as I get closer to the target. Then all of a sudden leaping across the rooftop to escape. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just not fun. Black Flag is not at the top. Black Flag's not even an Assassin's Creed game in my mind. It's closer to, like, just a pirate game, you know? No, I'm sorry, dude. Black Flag was terrible. It's terrible. And Assassin's Creed, the one where you play Shay, and you're like killing all the assassins as a Templar. I'm like, dude, how you've had me playing 4 games where I'm the assassins. Now all of a sudden I'm a Templar, and I'm supposed to feel bad for this guy. Like, what? Black Flag had amazing features as far as a pirate ship. But yeah, like, I'm sorry. I agree with Soup. It was a pirate ship simulator. Like, yo ho ho and a bottle of dumb is what that game was. Honestly, if you want a really good stealth game, you want to play like online The Last of Us. Because it's so easy to get killed in playing The Last of Us versus other people. So you have to be like real life on your fucking toes when you're playing The Last of Us. I always, in The Last of Us, always chose the bow and arrow. And I thought Splinter Cell was good. It just got overshadowed by Metal Gear. Like, you know, they were both really good. It's just people then, I guess they just didn't have time for 2 games at the top, you know? You know, Sam Fisher was a really good character. I like that they made him older too, because it made sense. It's like, how is a like prime spy not gonna have some gray hair? Come on. Splinter Cell did get a bit too much hype. I'll agree with you there. Hideo Kojima is so good at what he does. It's insane. Like, it's just, oh my God. And I love that, like, all of his new games are a big middle finger to Konami. And even though they are, and even though there's ridiculous things in there, they still come out with some of the best stories. Thief is a good game. Absolutely awesome. And another one that got overshadowed by Dishonored, because it was basically the same system, but Dishonored made it look better. And Dishonored played better. And honestly, go look up Corvo Attano from Dishonored 2 and tell me that he doesn't look like me in about 10 years. Okay? Go look at Corvo when he's older. I guarantee I'm going for that look. I didn't, but holy Christ, do I want to now. Jesus. I thought Corvo was kick-ass, so to look like him in my 40s, I'll be a silver fox. That's not true. I'm a YouTube guy. I mean, I wish it was. You're hitting the Benjamin Bunny, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Rudolph, you know, like they don't, I mean, it's good, but like, I think what makes a game the best is usually like just intuitive gameplay, and it has to have a really good story, which is why Red Dead Redemption 2 is the best game of all time in my mind, currently. They're remaking Max Payne, like the first one. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Garrett is fantastic, and it does feel a bit like The Witcher, you're right. How about Geralt, though? Isn't he a badass? With them cat eyes and shit? I thought Henry Cavill played like this amazing. Uh, um, that would explain it. They're made by the same studio. Okay. Yeah. All right. Makes sense. Yep. Does anybody remember when Ubi and Squaresoft were separate companies? Like, that's why when people started saying Ubisoft, I was like, what? With the way people seem to be like a little like pansies when it comes to like taboo topics nowadays, I think you're right. Manhunt would probably have a hard time coming out nowadays. It's like you would never, ever, ever, ever be allowed to release Postal or Postal 2 nowadays. No way. It would get an NC-17 rating like that. Like they would be like, this is clearly supporting like domestic terrorism, and somehow they blame it on the liberal left. You know, I don't know. Love and positivity, Zombie Queen. In the words of Ash the Stampede, love and peace. I wish they'd come out with a Red Dead Redemption 3 too, but look at how much work and time they made to make number 2. I'm willing for them to take another 8 years to release RDR 3. I think it would be cool to just introduce a brand new character at this point. They've done it 3 times. You know, like Red Harlow. Like, Arthur's obviously my favorite, but Red Harlow is my second favorite. I'm sorry, I love Red. He was my first. Like, when I played Red Dead Revolver, the first game, Red was the man, dude. And he's half, he's half American, half Native American. So I felt bonded to Red Harlow, you know? And, but I think, yeah, then they came out with John. And I thought it was funny because I was like, clearly John is just Red, redesigned. They even have the same scars. But they made him John, and we got John, and John's awesome. You know, Rob Wiedoff did such a good job playing John. Holy cripe! But then you look at his life, and you're like, oh, it's because you are John. Okay. Like he had a rough go, and he wasn't even expecting to be a voice actor. You know, he's just one of those guys that just like he has the voice. You know, I can't sound like Rob Wiedoff unless I do the "you eat babies" kind of thing. Like, you know, that's the only time I can sound like him. You eat babies, but I can sound like Arthur all the time. You know, I don't know, Dutch seems like some bad business. I'm telling you, that rat Micah Dutch, that boy, got something wrong with him. Like, I loved Arthur, and Roger Clark is awesome. Like, he was a stage actor. He was doing a stage performance when they found him to be Arthur. And I love that, like, he didn't know that he was going to be playing this video game icon. You know, imagine, like, I can't even, like, that would be so cool. You're playing this character, especially with video games now. I think video games are better than movies now because, like, movies are all clocked the fuck in, and they're boring. There's a reason no one is going to the theaters anymore. And, like, you know, the movie makers are like, why doesn't anyone go to the theaters? And it's like, because your movies suck, bro. Like, it's because your movies suck. Like, that's why. So I think video games are better than like movies now because they have a more overarching plot, better character development, and like you actually feel things when you're playing them. You know, if you're playing a scary game, you feel fear. If you're playing a game like Red Dead, you feel so many things. You feel love and support, but betrayal and redemption and sadness and we all, like, any of us who have a soul cried when Arthur died. The real way to play the game, in my mind, the real correct canon way to play Red Dead Redemption 2 is to do the good things with Arthur. Because that, I think, is the true story. Is the story of Arthur. Because at the beginning, he's a scary motherfucker. Like, Arthur is not to be fucked with. Like, you can clearly tell. Like, but over the course of the game, you watch him turn into this, but it's all like over the course of the game, you watch him turn into this, like, you know, very good man. Like, and it's a very good man in a sense of like values and ethics and morals and stuff like that. But like during the game, if you read through his diary, you learn a lot of other things about Arthur. That he's very intellectual and intelligent and artistic, and that's why he doesn't let any of the other members of the gang read his diary, because his handwriting is very good. His artistic drawings are incredibly good. The way he describes things is almost poetic, and he doesn't want the gang to know that their big, bad Arthur is a sweetheart on the inside. The only one who knows it is Mary Beth. Like, she sees the real Arthur. And I think it's funny. Like, because she clearly has a crush on him. But Arthur sees her as a girl, you know? Which he should. Arthur's such a good guy. Arthur is the model for how you should be as a good man. Like, legitimately. Like, you know, you take care of those who need taken care of. You uplift the downtrodden. You don't pass judgment on those that you don't know about. You know, it's not that hard. Like, you know, it's a simple, like the simple phrase, you know, the golden rule, you know, treat unto others, that kind of thing. I just prefer to say, don't be a dick. It's that easy. And it doesn't take a book to tell you that, or anything really. But video games, with the way they've come, holy God, like it's incredible. Like, I knew they were gonna be amazing when I was a kid. Like, my friend and I, when we were in elementary school, we used to be like, yo, someday, like, we didn't say it like that. But we're like, hey, someday these games are gonna be incredible. Like, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference between a game and if you took a picture and like you took a game picture, like, you won't be able to tell the difference. And in Red Dead, it's getting close to that. Like, where you take a picture of like Arthur or John from a certain angle, and if the sun's coming through, you can literally see the glow coming through their ear. That's detail I never thought I would see. And like some of the new details that like you're seeing with the new engines that are coming out are going to provide even more detail than that. And it's insane. Like, someday you literally are like the lead character in the video game will be you. Like, you'll be able to select like a name and how you look and stuff like that. Like, you know, yes, like, it's my favorite game of all time, Red Dead Redemption 2. With the story and the graphics and like just the amount of detail into even the non-playable characters. Like, the non-playable characters go about their day. They have jobs, and then they go home at night. You can follow them the whole day and just follow their whole day. Like, and you know, the amount of stuff you can do, you know. How much will it cost to run that, though? Damn. I imagine at the time it will be similar to like a similar cost balance to how it is now. You know, like, just, you know, prices are going to inflate. So yeah, to us it would be like ungodly expensive. It's like, you know, let me trade my house for this game system. But but you know, by the time that stuff comes around, the market will have changed by then. You know, and so it'll probably be like, you know, the equivalent of, you know, of what it is now. But to give a number, I couldn't even imagine a number that would cost, considering that, like, the cost of what some things cost nowadays. Like, the VR devices are kick-ass, and I'll give them that, but VR isn't that good yet. I'm sorry. Like, VR was around when I went to Las Vegas, and I was 13 when I went to Las Vegas. So, VR has been around a while. It's just like I've always seen that there's an issue with motion capture. You know, the motion capture's tough. So it's like eventually it's going to get to the point where like you're going to need to buy one of those motion capture suits to play video games correctly. But I think it'll be worth it because, like, you'll be able to design what you look like. So in the video game, you'll be able to walk up to, like, a mirror and look at yourself, and you'll look like your character, and, like, everyone will just talk directly to you. It'll seem like you're in, like, an actual real world. We're talking, like, Sword Art Online shit, except with, like, without the stupid plot and the self-insert character that is the main character. That's why every friggin' chick in the anime is hanging off his nuts. Like, dude, I am so tired of Sword Art Online. It birthed the shitty isekai genre. Let's give a normal guy from Japan, gets hit by a truck, wakes up in a strange land, confronted by magical and mythical beasts he had never seen, beasts that he had only read about in his time, but somehow he was granted the greatest powers by the god of the land to eliminate the Demon King. It's all the same story. Like, you know, and he picks up friends along the way, all of which happen to be female, all of which, during some course of time, hate him at first, and then he does some shit, like, he does some, like, nice thing or whatever, and then suddenly they're fucking in love with him, or obsessed with him in some form. Like, and then we have to wonder, who's he gonna hang out with? Will they? Won't they? Looks like they're about to. Dude, who fucking cares by the end, you know? And by the end, it's always the same ending. It's the power of friendship. You know, like, you know, the lead characters about to fucking die, and all of a sudden they get all this power from their friends, and they get the power to defeat the big baddie. Now, am I saying it's bad? No. I'm just saying it's getting tacky. It's getting overused. It's becoming a trope. It's getting tacky. Like, because it's like you can get other isekais that are really good, like Konosuba. Konosuba is really good because it makes fun of those premises. Like, it takes all of those like tropes and it just rakes them across the coals, and it's so funny. It's so funny. So yeah, I noticed that my viewer thing is dipping, so I must be getting boring with what I'm talking about because I've probably been talking for too long. Hour and a half usually is about when I see people kind of start to phase out from what I'm saying. If I find the energy within myself, like the determination within myself to put up a live stream and start playing piano today, I will do it. So keep an eye out, guys. I love having you guys here. It's always a pleasure. I love talking with you guys, even though you have to type. And I hope someday I'll get a super chat. I'm like a quarter of the way there. But, you know, eventually a cash app, and if you guys want to help, I greatly appreciate it. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is to spread the music, to spread the cool ideas I think are cool, and to have a nice like Q&A and discussion with you guys. It's always a fun time. It's always kick-ass. I always have a great time doing it, and I appreciate you guys because none of this would be happening unless you guys showed up and listened. So I greatly appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in. Wounded Pox out, guys.